Hi, I'm Michele and I'm the Director of Content and Community Relations for Oliso. A few weeks ago, we did a video in my crafting studio about using the leftovers of mask making to do some useful and fun projects. We made pin cushions, pillows, and actually I made a quilt for my granddaughter. So I feel the same way about using up my leftovers in the crafting studio as I do in my kitchen. So I often, when I make pasta, I always make too much, and maybe you have the same problem. So I found something that I used to make when I was in college, but I fixed it a little bit differently and put it in muffin tins. So we are going to be making a savory Italian spaghetti pie that will be layered with ricotta cheese and mini meatballs. So let me show you what you'll need to make the project or our recipe. First of all, you're going to need a muffin tin and a mixing bowl that has about 8 ounces of leftover pasta in it. And I just moved it around with a fork and it kind of broke it up nice and small. Mozzarella cheese, ricotta cheese, some Parmesan. You'll be using a half a stick of butter, and we're going to be needing 3 eggs. And then some herbs and spices. So we have basil, oregano. I like to use pink Himalayan salt, fresh ground pepper, and some garlic powder. When I made the first recipe, I found that the spaghetti crust needed a little bit more oomph. So I decided to use some pesto, and I'm going to mix that in with my noodles. You'll need some spaghetti sauce, as well as some cooking spray. And I'm going to be using some mini meatballs. These I had made for a party and I had left over, so I put them in my vacuum sealer and I just took them out of the freezer to use. So let me clean up my working space and we can get started with the recipe. I melted a half a stick of butter and mixed it with my pasta in preparation for the crust. Now I'm beating 2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of pesto, and a half a cup of my Parmesan cheese. And I'm going to pour that into my noodles and mix that up nicely. I've prepared my muffin tin. I already started doing some of my muffins. So I liberally sprayed it with canola oil spray, and I'm going to take my pasta mixture and I'm going to fill the wells. Half a pound of pasta, spaghetti, or angel hair should give you a dozen savory Italian muffins. I don't want to fill them up too much because we're going to be layering them. So you can take your fork or your spoon and kind of make the crust go up the side. And because it has eggs and cheese in with the noodles, they'll set up and make a nice little crust. And here I have my ricotta mixture. I put in a 1 beaten egg and all those nice herbs and spices that we showed in the beginning. I'm going to put a dollop in each well. I'm going to be using my mini meatballs that I had in the freezer that I had vacuum sealed from a previous dinner. But if you don't want to use meatballs, I've also used some roasted butternut squash in a nice like cube shape, and put a piece of squash in each one. So there we go. And now we want to cover with maybe a scant tablespoon of spaghetti sauce. And you could use jar sauce, homemade sauce, or this could have been left over from your pasta dinner. And then we want to sprinkle with some mozzarella. I have a preheated oven ready at 350 degrees, And they'll take about 20, maybe 22 minutes to cook. And there we go. So our muffins have come out of the oven, as you can see, and they've started to cool off. They should release really easily with just a large spoon, and you can put them to your cooling rack. So these have been out for a couple minutes, and you can see that, you know, they're nice and sturdy. They have a nice little spaghetti crust. So you're ready to serve. You can have several on a dish with a salad and a glass of wine for dinner, or a whole platter for a little party. I also freeze these to save for a quick meal. And if I vacuum seal them, I can just take a few out at a time. What you need to do, because they're soft, I would par freeze them. So I would pop them in the freezer on a freezer safe dish or platter for maybe an hour or so. And then I would put them in one of our freezer bags. So I'm just going to zip that shut, and it's ready to go. All right, and it's ready to be released. And as you can see, it's nice and tight and no air is in there. So that's why for something soft that you'll need to flash freeze it or pre-freeze it a little bit so they'll keep their shape and form. So there you have it, our layered Italian meatball ricotta muffins with a salad and a glass of wine. And enjoy.